Yeah, unmuted, ready to go. Okay, let's unmute. Let's go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council. This is a special Finance Committee meeting. I would ask that you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll be back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all. Still already for say. Bob already for say. For all. Councilmember Keel.
Present.
Councilmember Brosnan.
Present.
Councilmember Spain McLaren.
Present.
Councilmember Vera.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey.
Here.
Councilmember President Steele also present. We are all here. At this point of the evening, if anyone wishes to speak on any agenda item, you are welcome to come forward. Please share your name and place of residence. Does anyone wish to speak? Please come forward.
Okay, so I'm Annie Borthwick and I have a wonderful.
Annie, I'm sorry, the mic has to be close to you for it to be heard.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm Annie Borthwick and I've lived in Troy since 1969. So my whole entire adult life, I've been in Troy and I'm here today to see how our politics are doing in the city of Troy. So I hope that things work well here. And I want to remind everybody that the citizens were supposed to have some information. We've had very little. And I'm also very concerned about choices that are being made. So I just want to let you know, this is why I'm here, to see if our politics get better. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Annie. Does anyone wish to speak? Please come forward.
Hello. Hello, my name is Michael Gardner. I live at 62nd Street. I've lived in Troy, New York for about 12 years now. I'm here because I have questions about Resolution 88 about Proctor's Theater. I heard a rumor that some people think this is a financially wise decision. So I want to talk to people about that. I happen to be the treasurer for the Rensselaer County Historical Society. These are my own opinions. These are not the organization's opinions. I don't think it's wise for the LDC to consolidate its assets into one property. I think during this economically uncertain time, a unification of a portfolio is not the right move. Diversification is protection. I don't think it's wise that taxpayer money through the use of rent is used as leverage for loans, especially for a loan that over 20 to 30 years won't be a close to one-to-one value for the money put in to what it would be helping for the edifice of the Proctor's Theater. The money that's going to be used, that Redburn described, sounds like it's for a box in a box, which sounds a lot like a structure outside of a school that's there for 18 years. I think we deserve better than that. I was at the second meeting related to this project, and there was a lot of talk about pride and helping the building. And I think we can do that. The mayor mentioned that the CAM costs were around $150,000. If you were to bond that over 15, 20 years at 4%, that's about as much as it would be to buy that building, around $2 million you can get. So the city could purchase that outright, or the LDC could. I wouldn't recommend that for the LDC because they would need a continuous source of income to match that. around $150,000, as I said. I think it locks us into a choice. And I think it'd be better if we renegotiated the deal here and thought more about where our city's new future home could be. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Hi, everybody. Rachel Rample, for your park. I'm back after a couple months. So I have two major points regarding the City Hall proposal. They're actually questions, and I think that they're fairly reasonable questions. This resolution states, this first question, that this decision was made, i.e. the proposal, after a thorough and comprehensive review of the 8 submitted proposals. But the City Hall RFP doesn't have an evaluation criteria, which is a requirement of all RFPs according to our own city procurement manual. So I'd like to know how these proposals were evaluated. I'd like to know why there are applicants, other applicants other than Proctor's, complaining that they never heard anything from the city about what they submitted. So that's for question number one. Question number two, maybe this is a more specific question for Seamus. This resolution also states that Troy LDC signed a letter of intent for the Proctor's site. Who signed on behalf of Troy LDC? And when did that happen? And why isn't the letter of intent in any of LDC's minutes or agendas? This is important because I think we all have a right to know, was the LDC's signatory, who is Seamus, who also drafted this memorandum of support for tonight, working this from both angles, dual capacity being on the LDC, like the signatory for LDC, and also in his capacity as deputy mayor. And who selected, again, this proposal without any tangible criteria. And if it was Seamus, I think it's reasonable to ask that he explain how this isn't a conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Hello, I'm John Delcanti. I'm at 459 Broadway. And I'd like to speak about Resolution 88 as well. Two of the the mayor's main priorities for this action are to reduce monthly costs and to improve the economy on 4th Street and Upper Broadway. However, I don't think we've received enough information to evaluate whether this will reduce monthly costs. So I don't know if that point has actually been made. And speaking with some economic development folks, it's doubtful whether this is actually going to have an impact on the economy of 4th Street. And even if it did, it would be taking away from the economics of the place that it's leaving. But maybe most importantly, last night I attended the Downtown Albany Strategic Planning Public Workshop about the 400 million. And we were informed during this process that the planning, ideas, and vision needed to come from the community. And however, this process for selecting the new city hall was not transparent, did not engage the necessary stakeholders, including the full city council, and definitely did not engage the community fully. So this is apparently more of a top-down decision as opposed to bottom-up. So a more deliberate and comprehensive process would have yielded a better range of ideas. So that should be standard professional practice in planning and economic development. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Good evening. I'm Narin McKe, live Second Street, downtown. Hold the mic down. Better? Is that better?
Perfect,
thank you.
As close to your mouth as possible,
Okay.
please.
All right, I'm Narin McKe. I live in downtown Troy on Second Street. I'm here tonight to ask the city council not to approve Resolution 88, naming the former Proctor's Theater as the site for the new city hall. First and foremost, the city may not have the financial strength to undertake this project. I reviewed the slide that was shown at the second public meeting, and the numbers do not make sense. The slide compares total annual rent between the current city hall and the proposed site. The current lease includes $435,000 for the base rent, $63,000 for utilities, $86,000 for taxes, and $176,000 for common area maintenance. The total, $760,000. The proposed lease, total annual rent, $650,000. From what I can ascertain, the $650,000 number represents the annual principal and interest on a $8.6 million bond at 4.3% interest. That's the approximate rate for a tax-exempt municipal bond for 20 years. Does the Troy LDC have the ability to take on that amount of debt? And is that a good number for renovating this building? Where are the charges for utility and common area maintenance? What are the estimates? Will the income from flex spaces and amenities be able to offset those charges? Do we have any idea of what the projected income would be from those sources? Where will the $1.8 million come to pay for the purchase price? The LDC 2024 financials show $1.8 million in unrestricted capital, but most of that appears to be tied up in property held for development and resale. Is that the plan? We don't know. There are other concerns. Proctor's Theater is an historic site. Doesn't the state have to review and approve the plans for modifying the theater? How much is that going to add to the cost? There are a lot of questions that need to be thoroughly discussed about this project before I, as a taxpayer, will be satisfied to move forward with it. What's the rush? Let's take our time. Do this in a thoughtful, deliberate, and professional way. Thank you.
Thank you, Noreen.
Good evening. Stephen Maples, South Troy. Just wanted to say that coming into this, I was very excited about the possibility of this location. But then as I began to understand the few details that were out there, my opinion began to change on these things. So very quickly, the RFP didn't include evaluation criteria despite the administration claiming that it did. It's simply not there. Minimum criteria describe whether a proposal will be accepted. They do not describe how proposals will be evaluated against one another. It's disingenuous to conflate these two things. The mayor has often claimed that the administration worked for over a year and a half on this process, but the public nor the city council has been a part of that process until the past several weeks after a decision was already made. It's disingenuous to suggest or imply that this process has been transparent. Despite the year and a half work claimed, the initial public meeting had very few details of the proposal. The minimal amount of details that meant that there was widespread confusion as to what exactly was being proposed and how it was to be funded. It's disingenuous to say that the administration took these public meetings seriously. While more details were offered in the second public meeting that have begun to address some of these questions, the city's communication director has been misleading people online with information that is wrong, misleading, and in bad faith. including claiming that the city wouldn't be spending any tax dollars on the purchase, which is analogous to claiming that a homeowner isn't using their own money to buy their house because the bank is providing a mortgage. It's disingenuous at best. Most relevant to this body has been the severe lack of financial data. The only publicly available financial data was one slide in a presentation that only prompted more questions than it answered. Like if a developer has spent $7 million on a property to date, why are they now selling for 1.8 million? And the graph that shows flat rent for this proposal, but what is it based on? If based on some sort of preliminary financial plan, why isn't this available to the public? There's also the question of whether the use of the LDC in this way is legally proper. This seems to turn on some pretty specious arguments that this will boost the economic activity of the area, which, if there's evidence that this is true, should also be available for review. If it is legal, what impact would it have on the LDC to conduct its other business? More directly to the business before you tonight, how can this body fulfill its fiduciary responsibilities to the city without more details? And how will you ensure that those materials are made available? There are not unlimited points of leverage in this process. However, if this body does vote for this approval, the symbolism of the future home of this body being housed in a decaying husk that will one day likely fall on its head won't be lost on any of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Does anyone else wish?
Hello, council. My name is Joe Castello. I work in Troy. I'm also representing the landlord. I'm your current landlord. So there's a couple things. I've sat back and I've watched this whole process. You know, there's 2 lawsuits that we have right now with the city. I can't talk about anything related to those suits. So I'm making 2 separate points, just observations. It's my understanding that the deal to move to Proctor's has not been made public. Not the interest rate, not the term of the loan, not the total financing, despite what was put on slide 2, the last presentation. If any of you went to buy a car for 40 grand, you would never sign off on anything without reading it, knowing what the interest rate is and what your monthly payments are. You wouldn't do it. This is $10.4 million. So I don't know how you can vote yes on something you have no information on. If I'm wrong and you do have the information, would love to share it with the public. Would be great. Looking at apples to apples, I've had this conversation with numerous people. The one thing that's never included in the slides or in any news release, anything, is the operating costs when you own your own building. I've been managing buildings for 30 years, got a pretty good handle on what it costs to run them. So when you looked at the slide and it said, here's what you're paying for rent now, and the next slide was 650,000 and it was flat for 20 years. Well, that's great, but you're short about 300 grand a year. Because when you own your own building, roof repairs, HVAC maintenance, HVAC repairs, landscaping, snow removal, insurance. When you have a slip and fall, you get sued. Right now you have a slip and fall, I get sued because I'm taking care of the exterior of the building. So if you're going to compare apples to apples, every single slide should include what your operation to run that building is going to cost the city. And why I say it's approximately 300 grand, I got a lot of buildings that size. It does include maintenance because you're going to have to hire maintenance people to fix things. So that does include labor. Button close, preventative maintenance agreements. I don't know if you know how much elevators cost to fix or what they cost to maintain. Huge number. You're also going to have to put aside a capital improvement plan. So you're going to need to put money aside for when you have to replace a roof, when you have to replace an HVAC unit. All of that needs to be factored in. So based on what I've read, the operating budget for this building isn't due until November. So I just put an operations budget for something that we're planning to do next year. You can't make a financial decision on information you don't have. That's my piece.
Thank you, Joe. Does anyone else wish to address the council?
Erica Vale. I'm a resident in Troy. And I have a letter in 2009 from New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to Thomas Keeney, Columbia Development, June 30th, 2009, regarding ESDC, Proctor's Theater, partial demolition, rehabilitation, new construction, restore New York 3, etc. And highlighted in this is, after reviewing the material submitted to this office as part of the project sponsor's funding application, we have determined that the project as proposed will have an adverse impact on National Register listed Proctor's Theater Complex. Our determination is based on section 14.09, parentheses, NYS PRHPL, which states, etc. And due to the wide discrepancy between the numbers prepared by the applicant and those of the local group, we believe that a more thorough analysis of projected rehabilitation, restoration costs, and long-term operation costs and revenues is needed. Any effort to save this venerable but long-suffering historic resource must not only look at the present day and the potential funding now available to rehabilitate and restore the building, etc. Lastly, we would be remiss if we did not also state the importance of the preservation of both the facades, which has been done, of the Proctor's Theater and the Chasen Building, which is no longer part of this project, in their current streetscapes, the loss of either of these. So this was from 2009, and it seems, as far as the numbers are concerned, we're still dealing with the same issues. So I would like to see more transparency, true transparency, and get the numbers for maintenance ongoing, which Joe Castello spoke to, and transparency, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
Council President Steele, just,
Councilmember Casey.
just for clarification, we had some discussion early in the week where you were talking about sending this to committee, but the fact that we just heard from 8 speakers, I think in the end, you decided against that. It's still on the agenda, correct? Resolution 88. You had talked about it, but I know we discussed.
It was put on the agenda without my approval. We're moving forward. It's on the agenda. Yes,
Thank you
please.
very much, Council President Steele.
Sorry, I'm short. There we go. My name is Silva Manard. I live on the 2100 block of Fifth Ave. I've been here for 19 years. And having run property management, I echo everything that Joe Castello has said. And I think it's ridiculous that you would ever call this up without having that information shared publicly with the taxpayers, because we are on the hook. These decisions that you make tonight, they're going to impact us long after you're sitting here. Every single one of you is latching us to whatever happens in the future. And the numbers that we've been given, for those of us who look at this and we've run property management, we look at that and say, where's the apples to apples? That's the exact thing I said. Was it Wednesday, the 23rd, at the second public meeting? I said, there's no apples to apples comparison. We were told $751,000 a year. That's the lease. But then under further investigation, our deputy mayor says that includes the rent, it includes CAM, it includes utilities, it includes taxes. What else does it include? Maintenance, apparently. So that's $751,000 that's being pushed all over PowerPoint. We're going to save all this money. Are we really? Where are the numbers? The mayor said, oh, it's a great idea. We'd love to get you that spreadsheet. Where's that spreadsheet? Where is the spreadsheet that says, here's the line item for utilities, Here's the line item for taxes. Here's the line item for CAM. Deputy Mayor on the 23rd also said that that's $650,000 a year. It doesn't include CAM. So you're telling me to believe you, well, to believe the mayor's office. You're telling me to believe you without any proof. No proof at all. We just got out of receivership. Are you guys going to put us back in? I plan to live here for a lot longer than the 19 years I've been here. My kids are growing up in this city. It's their tax dollars that are going to be going to pay for whatever decisions we don't even know. And we know that Proctor's is hiding a lot of secrets. Where's the extensive review of what scope this work is going to entail? What kind of projects are we going to have to deal with the box inside a box? What kind of HVAC, air filtration? How are we going to heat and cool that box inside this enormous box? The taxpayers are going to be paying that. So think long and hard before you vote on this tonight. Maybe say, let's wait a little while, because we've already got a lawsuit against us, against trying to get out of the lease early. So are we going to be on the hook for that too? Stay here a little bit longer. Do I think we should have a city hall building? Absolutely. But you're locking us in. If you vote yes without any information, what happens next? I care a lot about this city. And so do a lot of other residents, homeowners, renters, and we're all paying the taxes. Whether you're paying rent or you're paying the tax bill itself, that money goes to pay taxes. So think long and hard before you call this up for a vote, because we need more information. And the deputy mayor on Facebook today said, well, you're never going to approve it no matter what. Give me the information. Strong opinions, loosely held. You give me the evidence, I'll change my mind. I'll change it anytime, and I always do. But if I don't have the evidence, I can't believe you. So give me the evidence.
Thank you, Silva.
I'm going to steal, my name's Bill Schroeder. I'm going to steal just a little bit of what I'm going to say to the council later on.
Bill, I'm sorry, could you get closer to the mic so we can hear you?
Okay.
Thank you.
I've spent I'm an architect with an MBA. I've spent more than 40 years advising people on real estate development projects. I'm a numbers guy. The few numbers that I've seen don't make sense. There are too few of them, and the ones I've seen don't make sense. You don't have enough numbers to oblige this city to this project at this time. Enough said.
Thank you, Bill.
And by the way, historic projects are notoriously more expensive to build and more expensive to maintain. And they often develop horrific problems 5, 10 years down the line, because there are surprises in 110-year-old buildings.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm John Waite, and I live at 1920 Fifth Avenue. And I think I've had a longer history with Proctor's than most people. Spent many hours as a kid waiting to get in when the lines wrapped around the block. And after Proctor's closed in 1977, I was appointed to a city council commission to look at Proctor's. And that was really good because it was bipartisan, had a Republican and a Democrat member of the city council and three citizen members. I was one. And there's problems that we identified then and laid out a path are still true today. And what I think something really would have happened then, except that's when the Republicans and Democrats decided not to cooperate. And the city manager, who was attended all of our meetings, was terminated. So I was pleased to hear that there's interest in saving Proctor's at this point, and that there's going to be a preservation project. It went on that one of the results of our commission is that in 1979, the building went on the National Register. And at that time, it said that it was one of the most important theater buildings in the state because of the association with the architect, Arlen Johnson, who is a major theater designer, and also Proctor himself, who is a combination of vaudeville and motion picture tycoon. So Proctor's today is one of the few, maybe the only combination of vaudeville theater and movie theaters left in the state. And what it said on the National Register form, the major part of the significance of the building was the outside facade, the terracotta facade, which has been restored, but the interior space, the theater space itself, which is really unique and a spectacular space. Then I went to the public meeting and heard what was said about it. And they said it was going to be a preservation project, but they're going to stick a black box inside. Turns out that isn't true. They're sticking a lot of small spaces, boxes inside, which will completely destroy the sense of the theater. And if the SHPO gave an adverse effect that was just read to us, this proposal, I think, will fare no better. And also, since that time, Proctor's has received a state historic preservation grant, and it also is the subject of a federal and state historic preservation tax credit project, so that there's already been reviews of it. The idea that this is a preservation project is the 1960s idea, which we see in downtown Troy, which has been a total disaster, where it was said in the 60s that we had to destroy downtown Troy in order to save it. And the land is still vacant, and this is more of the same. So I think the problem is that this council could be blamed for the destruction of Proctor's Theater, which will happen. It is not a preservation project, and the proposed design use, if you look at it, it is not a functioning city hall. It's very discoordinated, not developed well, and there's an awful lot of wasted space, including circulation space. It's way more circulation space than you can afford for a building that you're going to get only a small amount of usable space. And that's circulation space. The main quarters, according to this scheme that's been distributed, is 7 feet 6 inches high, ceiling height. That's like this. It's not a realistic or serious concept. And I agree with the previous speaker that the construction numbers make no sense. You know, if you look at what construction costs in rehabilitating buildings, you're not going to do it for that. What I don't understand is why the city isn't following the route that the county took with the restoration and rehabilitation of the courthouse, where they got money from the SHPO and they got local bond money to fund it. And it was a very smooth process, as I understand. New York State has historic preservation grants through OPRHP and the economic development branch, which allow half the cost of the acquisition of the property is eligible for a state grant, then half the cost of construction is eligible for state historic preservation grants. And many communities across New York State has taken advantage of those grants. Why aren't we doing that? We heard a lot of things that weren't true at those public meetings, like you can't have the sloping floors that Proctor has. And it was quoted that it doesn't meet ADA regulations. That's simply not true. If it were true, 90% of the theaters in New York City would be closed. The office block, when RPI owned the building, 2005, they commissioned a professional code analysis of the building and found that the building in its present form as a theater was remarkably compliant with the New York State Building Code. But what was a problem was the office block, because there is a limit on the occupancy that you could have in the office block, so that you have a very small number of people that could be accommodated in the office block, which is currently occupied by tenants, which would have to leave. But the circulation doesn't make any sense. So you come into the historic lobby, you have to walk to the far end of the building to get to an elevator. If you come from the parking garage, the same thing. This really needs a lot more study, and you've got to have I think, a good idea of what it's really going to cost. And what's been quoted now is, in my opinion, not realistic at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Does anyone else wish to address the council on any agenda item?
Council President,
Councilmember,
I have an email that I need to read. If everybody is done with the public forum.
I think we still have some folks coming
Okay.
forward.
Hi, I'm Erica. I'm a homeowner in Troy. My husband owns a small business and we have 5 kids in the school district. I just wanted to speak to a couple things. One, I have 2 college students now, and when we were looking into saving money, we thought maybe we should look off campus and get an apartment for her. And then we realized that we can't do that because there's a stipulation that she has to live on campus and for 2 years. So I ended that search. So coming to understand when we have a lease that's currently still not sure of when it's really ending, I would imagine, why would you start looking for something when you don't know when something is ending? And then secondly, I love ideas, and I think it's a great idea in theory to have a city hall that belongs to the city and to move it to a beautiful building. But like other people have said, just the cost of that, we don't really know the full scope of it, it seems. we have a lot of questions that people have already asked, and it doesn't seem like the public really understands what the real numbers are, the spreadsheets, just the cost of maintenance, everything that people have already discussed. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Thanks.
Thank you, Erica. Does anyone else wish to address the council? Any member of the public wish to say anything on an agenda item, something that we're going to be talking about in Finance Committee now?
Here, just pick up with what the lady said. I do agree on her concern about.
Sir, can you could just go closer to the mic?
Gotta introduce himself.
Just close enough.
Yes, thank you.
Do I have to say my name? All right, my name is Jason Keene. I am a senior at RPI. And I agree with the lady about her concerns about the renting situation in the city of Troy. As someone going through myself and have to finance my living situation myself, I have unfortunately come to the conclusion that a lot of these buildings costing up of $500 per month, $700 per month. It's not at a standard that I would consider, modern quality into the year 2025, as a lot of them are severely drafty. Some of them have bug infestation, stuff like that. Windows are off skew, floors not flat. Frankly, the place that my parents live at is about the same price per month, and even that then, being ludicrously more expensive, is still, I'd say, a lot better quality than what I find up here. And I am very concerned about, since this is apparently the state that we can expect about the city of Troy, that this is the quality, if you can't let your people live in good quality homes, what about the rest of the city of Troy? The business, how healthy those are, how people, can actually live and actually make a living trying to live here. Also, I would like to make a request for, adding an express bus route from the waterfront station to Albany Rensselaer, because I think you guys are severely missing an opportunity of having a more direct connection between the city of Troy and the Albany Rensselaer train station, which I would think would benefit the city by allowing the people here to have spend less time and effort getting to a mass transit option, which would allow them to have better access to jobs along the jobs along the Albany Rensselaer station. I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not sure if that's really in your guys' wheelhouse, but I assume you guys would have some connection to the New York State Senate or whatever it's called, and have get talks about that, something like that going. Also, driving down, I think the highway down Hookstick, there is a lot of traffic heading down upriver, and I think another a public transportation option to wherever cities people go to would help ease congestion and frustration up along I think 87, 9, whatever one heads toward the Bridge Roads North.
Thank you.
And I assume you guys are actually taking that into consideration or just giving lip service.
Thank you for your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak on any agenda item before the Finance Committee?
Sorry I was late. How was everyone doing tonight?
Better than the microphone, I guess.
My name is Mark. I'm a resident of Troy in the Little Italy area. I'm a little concerned about the City Hall proposal. I took a time to go over the documents that were provided for this. The memorandum in support was a paragraph with no information about what this is going to cost us, what kind of renovations we are entertaining, what renovations we're not entertaining. I just feel that there's a lot, even though there have been some public forums, this vote is premature because there's still a public forum that's scheduled August 13th. And I think we are doing this a little too soon. I would highly consider, I would hope that you guys postpone this vote until after the last public forum before we move forward with this. There has been a lot of concerns about the funding for this, pretty much dissolving the LDC in order to do this, and that program is meant to help local businesses and local buildings be energized to be back to being tax-paying dollars. And so we are taking money out of the city by not having that organization funding rebuilds of the city. So we're losing tax dollars on that end as well. I would really like you guys to take a look at the idea and the concept of meeting like this, surrounded by a failed, dilapidated theater, and what kind of message that says about what we think the city of Troy is. That we think that the city of Troy is a dilapidated theater, that we are just skating on the bones of the past, that we do not care about our future. The proposal does not include a restoration of the theater, and a restoration of the theater last I saw was like a $40 million proposal. A $40 million proposal that would be saddled to future taxpayers if we ever chose to renovate that. I am absolutely for a new city hall, a permanent city hall that we can call our own. I just don't think this is the right project for it. I really think you guys should really reconsider the burden that you guys are going to put onto the city by going through with this motion, because you are not thinking about midterm costs, long-term costs, and short-term costs. You're just not thinking about it. And I think you need to rethink this, postpone this vote until after the last public comments, so that it's not a tour, but it's a public comment. Don't shirk on the political process, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. You can take the mic right out.
Okay. All right.
My interest is some of these older buildings here, like the mall right down the street, nobody is using it. Could we try knocking it down and rebuilding it for apartments, maybe for the future? Well, it's just being wasted. And you're paying taxes on it. I'm not, but some people are. For the city. I would be very happy to see if I could be part of that through the Disabilities Act. Even try to make apartments. Anything on that, even for the young adults to actually be out on the street. Happen. That's what I would like to see happen for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I didn't catch the name. Could you add that for the record?
Darlene Regard.
Thank you very much, Darlene.
Good evening. My name is Gary Bradley, and I was born in this city a few years ago. And I was listening to what was going on about the Proctors. Now, many years ago, I do remember there was a gentleman by the name of Duncan Barrett. You all probably don't remember him. He passed away. And he and a group from Schenectady wanted to purchase the Proctors Theater and renovate it like its sister theater in Schenectady, which was renovated. And since it's been renovated, it's been making money. It's profitable. Now, I don't know why you want to go back to the Proctors Theater. Now, I've seen things pass by that Troy let go. The EOC building on the corner of 6th and Congress was vacant for many years. I often wondered why the city of Troy didn't renovate that and convert it into a city hall. There was ample parking. The city hall was in the Verizon building. You left there and came here. Don't know why you left that. But for what's going on now, it's going to cost too much money to put a city hall there. You should think of other things to do besides putting the city hall. If you want to do something with the Proctors, refurbish it like its sister's theater in Schenectady. That would be profitable. Right now, you don't have all the figures, and you're skating on thin ice. I personally don't approve of it.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to address the council on any agenda item before the Finance Committee this evening?
John Kane, I just wanted to add, I don't disagree with anything that has been said previously, but I wanted to add that I know that the Democratic minority has asked for documentation now, I'm assuming months ago. I don't know if you guys have it. I'm not sure who introduced this resolution tonight. It seems like it seems like the administration is asking you guys to take responsibility for all the decisions that they've made. This process has really been problematic since the get-go. This is extremely disorganized, but by voting for it tonight, you guys are taking responsibility for it. You're taking this in as your own. So if you guys feel you've been given the appropriate amount of information, please say what it is and why you're voting for this, because moving forward, this is also going to be your project and your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Does anyone else wish to address the city council tonight on any agenda item before the Finance Committee? Going once? Going twice? 3 times? Does anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, Irene, Council President Sorrento, Council Member Sorrento, she's been elevated.
No, thank you. No, thanks. I'm trying to retire here. All right. So we received an email that I would like to share with everybody because this is for the record from Vic Christopher. And the subject line is City Hall legislation. City Council members, I wholeheartedly support the plan to move City Hall to Proctor's Theater building. It is obvious that the development team's response to April's RFP was clearly superior to other submissions. This is likely the highest and best use scenario for this significant property. No other viable alternative seems realistic, considering the size and scope of the theater and other potential end users. There is no shortage of opinions and ideas in this city, especially when it comes to public projects like this. But it is my hope that we can all reach a consensus that this project is worthwhile and appropriate enough to proceed. with an unprecedented amount of private investment in the pipeline and nearly a dozen 20 million plus dollar quality projects on the horizon, Troy's brightest days could be ahead of us very shortly. City Hall can be the icing on the cake, and we have a unique opportunity to show the rest of the world progress that we can all be proud of. Regards, Vic Christopher, President, Clark House Hospitality.
Thank you. And that was emailed to you personally?
It was emailed to me. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, well, I think we've had a lot of public comment on our agenda, and so we'll move forward with ordinances. Ordinance 36, ordinance authorizing sale of a certain city-owned parcel of real property by the proposal sale application method. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion on the ordinance. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ordinance is adopted unanimously. Under resolutions, Resolution 85, resolution accepting a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services under the STRIVE initiative and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract and execute documents related to the grant on behalf of the city. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Spain McLaren. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 85 is adopted unanimously. Resolution 86. Resolution accepting a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services under the GIVE initiative and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract and execute documents related to the grant on behalf of the city. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 86 is adopted unanimously. Resolution 87, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Pavement Management Group to implement pavement condition data management services for the city of Troy by piggybacking on the city of Smithtown, New York. Contract entitled PIN 24056 Pavement Management Solution. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 87 is adopted unanimously. Resolution 88, resolution approving the former Proctor's Theater building at 82 to 90 4th Street, Troy, New York, as a new site for Troy City Hall. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion? We'll have a slow roll. Councilmember Keel,
Aye. Yes.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Due to the fact that this is just claiming our intent on moving somewhere, I'll vote aye. Waiting for the numbers for a real vote, though.
Councilmember Spain McLaren.
Due to a lot of the things that we heard tonight, we don't have the numbers that we asked for. We haven't seen the letter of intent. We asked for more time for this vote because there is still a public session on this. Due to a lot of questions that we asked that still have not been answered almost 2 months later. For those reasons, I am a no.
Councilmember Vera.
Yeah, I mean, I have a laundry list of concerns.
obviously there's the financial aspect of this proposal, which we have limited details on. There's also the feasibility, as some other members of the public brought up this evening, on whether or not this is an adequate space to house city hall operations. And because of those reasons, in addition to conflicts of interest that seem to exist on the LDC and the LDC's ability to take something like this on and get it financed, I vote no.
Councilmember Soriento.
So, I'm going to explain my vote only because, I've been, before the council, I worked for the city of Troy full-time back in 2003. And I worked at, the Monument Square building, beautiful building. I got married there. And then it was sad, but we had to move to then the Verizon building, and I worked there. And then we moved here, and I worked here until 2018. And it just doesn't feel, I'm sorry, it just does not feel like home. It doesn't. Not like how it was when we had our own city hall at One Monument Square. It was beautiful, except for the orange carpet. That was terrible. But anyways, that building was absolutely gorgeous, and that felt like home. And honestly, we really need our own home desperately. We haven't had our home since what, 2010? Maybe prior to that. I totally forgot. I'm getting old. But anyways, we need our home. And my vote is going to be yes. And I think that this is going to be absolutely beautiful. And yes, there's going to be some obstacles along the way. There's always obstacles. Every move that we did, going from one city hall to another, we ran into obstacles. We ran into obstacles when we moved in here. I remember those. It might be, minute, but I remember them. And I think that, yes, we are going to run into obstacles. I mean, we'd be lying to you right now if we said we're not. But that's in every move. Things will play out. They will play out. They will play out.
Folks, please let her finish.
And so I am going to vote yes on this because I'm so excited to see our new home and hopefully our permanent home. Thank you.
Councilmember, she voted yes. Okay, you said you were going to vote.
I am voting yes.
It's the power is in the tents. Thank you. Councilmember Casey.
I just have a couple of brief comments.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say some concerns. People spoke about concerns about the LDC. And let me tell you, since I was appointed or won this council seat, was on the LDC, I couldn't been any more impressed with the people in that room. I mean, these people are just great businessmen and leaders in their community. They don't have all ties to this administration. One of the members, two I know have been on for quite a long time. One dates back to the Tutungin administration. That's a long time. And I was so impressed with the way they operated. I doubt they would just sign on to something knowing it could risk the future and the reputation of Troy's LDC. I just never have found that to be the case. And I suggest that you either watch the meetings or go to see the professionalism of these people. I will like to discuss our present housing. I don't like other city leaders and people coming to just an office building. I'm sorry, I've never liked that. I've said that all along. We are faced with the ever increasing rent. We have had problems with the extra fees involved, the maintenance and different things, which we've had problems. We've objected, as did the previous administration, to some of those fees. In fact, I believe prior to this administration, payments were withheld because of that. So it's like timeshare where you can't control the maintenance fees. It seems like, to me, that they went up and up and up. And lately, making a decision to stay here after some of the outrageous disparaging comments of the owner of this building, if I was in their position, this would be my last choice. When you have a bad landlord, you go somewhere else. I just want to say, this was a campaign promise a long time ago, 2.5 years ago at least. We're in a year and 8 months into this administration. And the RFPs went out in April of 2024. Some people said this has been rushed. I don't see how that has been rushed in any way, shape, or form. There's been several public comments, and there's going to be the next one next week at Proctor's. And there's going to be more comment and input. And from what I've seen and been told, this administration is going to have open ears and an open mind to suggestions on this project going forward. Now, as far as the selection of Proctor's, I was impressed. It wasn't on my radar, quite frankly, but when you heard the reasoning, I thought, so in one full swoop, we're getting a city hall and we're saving a historic building. And let me just talk to that. As far as Proctor's is concerned, it meant a lot to all of us who grew up in Troy. My first concert was Tiny Tim singing Tiptoe to the Tulips. I went to movies there. We took the bus to the Proctor's. It was a very important part of our youth. But it sat empty all these years. I've toured it with the fire department, and I've toured it recently, as many of you have, and it's deteriorated. During those years, nobody has come to Troy with a grant, any ideas, any money, not a rich benefactor to redo this theater. I think at this point, it was City Hall, it is City Hall, or in the end, somewhere down the road, a wrecking ball. And I'd like to preserve it. If somebody did come along, or we did get a grant, wow, that's wonderful. So we redo the theater. Now we compete against Palace Theater in Albany, Proctor's in Schenectady, and Cahoe's Music Hall. All are nonprofits. All of them are not getting rich. They're helped along by members. I don't think, and this is probably the reason why it's never been done, I don't think it's financially viable for anybody. So I really, truly feel that this move gets us to City Hall and saves this beautiful historic building from the wrecking ball. And that's why, Council President Steele, I am voting yes tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks,
Cat calls.
please, I don't have a gavel, but please,
Where is it?
I want to thank all the folks who spoke tonight. Your comments were spot on, very intelligent, very prepared. I share your sentiments. This legislation is premature, should not even be on the agenda if you go by the rules of our council and by our city code. Tonight's vote by the Republican majority on the mayor's City Hall relocation plan is a brazen attempt to ram through a vote over the questions and concerns of the council and the public. We have been stonewalled by the administration for months over requests for documents, financial information, and basic details. How can we be asked to approve a new City Hall site without any written lease agreement for a new location or a final budget for the total cost of this project? The LDC admitted they won't have a final budget until November 2025, and yet here we are tonight. There are also real serious questions about the legal implications of the mayor breaking our current lease. It's possible the city could end up paying for 2 leases simultaneously, and that cost will directly impact taxpayers. You know, it's been said in the papers by a present council member that this is about personalities. And I want to say on the record, it absolutely is not. This is about policy. It's about transparency. It's about needing facts before you make a decision. And rushing this approval through without any financial backup information, a confirmed budget, or even completing the scheduled public meetings demonstrate the mayor is singularly focused on making this vanity project a reality for her legacy over more important projects before our city. I vote no. Resolution 88 has been adopted 4-3. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Do you want to take a break?
Just,
Yeah.
just bathroom break real quick.
Okay.
Can I?
Yep.
I'll run.
Yeah, and I brought it up on my screen too, so. Good evening, everyone. If I could ask you to please take your seats, we're going to get underway with our regular August meeting. Wow, summer is moving
Yeah.
too quickly.
She's gonna put up on Jimmy, we were thinking, because Carrie's here.
Sure, yes.
I would ask everyone to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Keel,
Present.
Councilmember Brasnan,
Present.
Councilmember Spain McLaren,
Present.
Councilmember Vera, Councilmember Soriento. Here. Councilmember Casey,
Present.
Council President Steele,
Present.
all are present.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this point of our agenda, we have a public forum for you to share any comments, any thoughts you have on any agenda item before us this evening. So if you have any comments that you wish to make, we had lots of comments at our finance meeting just moments ago that were greatly appreciated. But please come forward. Thank you.
I'm back. My name is Bill Schroeder. I'm an architect with an MBA and have advised banks, lenders, owners, and developers for 40 years on project development. In fact, in the late 80s, I worked for a time for a developer who wanted
I'm
to.
sorry, Bill.
Yep.
Could the folks in the hall please tone it down? We can't hear the speaker. Thank you.
In the 80s, I worked for a time for a developer who wanted to redevelop Proctor's. He had a great idea, but not quite enough money. More's the pity. I must say, I have not been able to get much information on this project from the mayor's office, 2 unreturned calls, the newspaper coverage, or the folks who attended the first 2 information sessions. I had planned on attending the 8:13 session, but that now appears to be moot. Proctor's is a magnificent building worthy of preservation, but it is high risk. Building office space in the theater building of Proctor's will make terrible office space. Let's remember why the last owned city hall was torn down. Administration after administration, council after council, failed to budget funds for maintenance to address issues that led to structural damage such that the building was deemed unable to be saved. Owning real estate is not a core mission for cities. Let's face it, cities are not great owners of real estate, particularly not historic real estate. Historic buildings are more expensive to maintain as they were built with more expensive materials and methods. Historic buildings also have a habit of developing, I'm sorry, I lost my place, of developing expensive, unforeseen problems, structural, cosmetic, and otherwise, even after extensive investment. Proctor's is more than 110 years old. On another topic, the nature of work is changing. Can you say you know what the impacts of AI are going to be on staffing in the next 5 or 10 years? I don't think so. Is now the time to own rather than to rent? I think these are the questions that the City Council needs to ask itself before it votes. Has the city been well advised by independent, experienced professionals in development, finance, and preservation before it reaches this decision? I think we all know the answer to that. Has there been enough detail? I think we all know the answer to that. Was there an independent appraisal of the building done to support the purchase price? Were there other studies provided to you to support your conclusions? How reliable and detailed is the project's budget? I think we know the answer to that. Has the city spoken with New York State SHPO regarding the concept plan? I think we heard from a couple of people that the concept plan has been sent to SHPO, and I think that's going to be a huge problem. I think that's going to affect the construction schedule, because whether you seek the historic credit or not, you are subject to SHPO's rules and approvals. You ought to take that into serious consideration. You know, I'm going to skip this one. All of the other expenses associated with this, the litigation, the moving, you're not going to think about that. The council, with a yes vote tonight, you are accepting huge project and financial risks on behalf of taxpayers. Construction cost overruns. Do you know where steel and lumber costs are going to be in 6 months? I don't think so. I don't think anybody does. Interest rate risks on financing. Construction costs overruns, labor costs, construction schedule overruns, approval constraints from SHPO, as well as a lifetime of increased maintenance and likely insurance costs for this building. For those of you voting who want to be remembered for building a Troy City Hall, if you vote for this tonight, I fear you will be remembered, but the way we remember Steve Dworsky, by creating a generational financial mess. This process has been opaque. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to address the council?
Hello, this is my first time doing this, but I think it's
Please,
important.
please just give us your name and
Avi Menard.
take a deep breath, and it's fine.
I think this is an important issue that, if done incorrectly, will lead to long-term financial problems for the city and my generation. And I would like to see fiscal responsibility and transparency from the mayor before this gets put forward, and accurate numbers. Thank you.
You just get them for the.
Avi Menard.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm not completely opposed or for the whole town hall move. Depending on what you know, if you guys are actually planning to just move there, or if you end up deciding to do something else with that building, because if that building needs to be renovated, then yes, that is a safety issue. But you have to, of course, do it, properly, completely, make sure you're open and transparent about, what's wrong with the building, stuff like that, and more of that over than like historic preservation, because that's kind of just dressing on the building, and really you can just use modern materials or whatever to form it back to like what it looks like, make it actually a lot better. But I also think using that building to move Troy City Council over seems like a waste of city time. I think if you were to put that funds towards actually putting some more like community first resource, like housing, public housing, some sort of program that actually gives back to the community, or gives back to the community, instead of just moving shop, where you guys are doing your job here just fine, to then move somewhere else to re-guys do the exact same job. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, Mark again, resident of Troy. To be earnest, I expected the vote as it came out. Disappointed in people who touted themselves as fiscally responsible, voting on this proposal with no information. I don't know how you can call yourself fiscally responsible or fiscally conservative if you voted yes on this. And I would, again, strongly consider not voting yes for resolution 88 because it's not fiscally responsible at all. My fellow fiscal conservatives, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Does anyone else wish to address the council? This is on agenda items.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marcos Lugo. I'm resident in 4th Street. I've been doing business over there for the last 7 years. I own a barbershop right there in 4th and State. And I hope everybody can vote yes, because Troy ain't coming back. Troy not going back. We're going forward. And I believe the money it's going to be provided. So that building is over there for 100 years. So I believe can stand it over there for another 50 or another 40, something like that. And, excuse me that I'm opposed to somebody, but I believe you can give you a chance and we can try there, because we Troy, we're going up. We're not going backwards. Very good evening.
Absolutely. Does anyone else wish to address the council on an agenda item?
Hi, my name is Maria. I live on the east side. And I just wanted to say a few things I wanted to clarify. So I started working here about 3.5 years ago. The floor of my office is the only office on city floor that is not a carpet. It was starting to come up. I asked the old deputy mayor who was supposed to fix my floor. I kept tripping on it every time I came into my office. He told me to speak with the building managers, who ended up telling me it was up to our own people to take care of it, as it was the HVAC system. That was fixed in 3 of our offices this past year. My office, treasurer's office, assessor's office. We paid for all of it. Us. Operating costs came out of our money. Not the landlords, not the building supervisors. City of Troy paid for it. Labor, materials, everything. Our bathrooms have been shut down numerous times. Our people come and fix them. Our facilities people. I'm not calling the landlord. I'm calling Chris down in facilities. He's coming here. He's fixing it. Right now, as we speak, I have 2 lights in my office. They're about to fall on top of my desk. Tomorrow morning, I'm not going to call the landlord. I'm going to call Scotty. He's going to come and fix it. Or the facilities people are going to come and fix it. I'm not calling Joe Castaldo. I'm not calling Kevin Betty. I'm calling people that work here for the city of Troy that get paid by the city of Troy. So I just wanted to make some clarifications on things, that we pay the landlords to come here and do all these things for us. We pay for it. We all pay for it. City of Troy pays for it. Not the landlord, just to be clear.
Thank you. Mic drop.
Does anyone else wish to address the council?
Here. Come on.
Hello, my name is Mark Menard. Almost a lifelong resident of Troy. I skipped 1 year, lived down in Delaware. So I've lived through the tear down of the Monument Square, seeing the neglect over the years, the low budgeting, the not doing the maintenance work that needed to be done that literally resulted in what had been a nice and beautiful building needing to be torn down. I've seen the wanderings of the city government through the various buildings to eventually being here on city floor. And I don't want to defend this landlord or say that this arrangement is a good one. But just because we're in a bad situation doesn't mean that we should rush headlong into an unknown situation. I remember Secretary of Defense getting critiqued because he said there's unknowns and then there's unknown unknowns. And if you've ever been involved in historic buildings, if you've been ever involved in doing rehab and taking things down and trying to maintain and stabilize historical buildings, you will know that there are unknown unknowns. There are going to be things found in the process of doing this building that we had no idea they're going to cost way more than any budget that you actually at this point don't even have. It's like walking into the car dealer, putting on a blindfold, spinning around 3 times, pointing at a car and say, I'll take it, without even negotiating back and forth and finding out what you're actually going to pay for and what the payment's going to be. We do not know what the long-term maintenance costs of this building are going to be. We're committing to 20 years of being in this building that, according to what I understand, at the end of it, we don't even own the building. The Land Development Corporation owns it. And according to the law, what I understand, if we want to buy it from them, we then have to then buy the building at a fair market price. So we talk about this as being a permanent home. It is not. It is as impermanent as what you're sitting in right now. It's trading one lease for another. And again, I'm not saying that this situation is great. I think we should have a city hall that the city actually owns. And that in our charter, we're going to be obligated to take care of and maintain. And hopefully that's a modern building so that we don't have the unknowns that come with every historic building. They're always there. So the fiscally responsible. Well, how is it possibly fiscally responsible to vote yes on something when you don't know what the budget's going to be? You don't know how much it's really actually going to cost. You don't know what the long-term maintenance on the building is going to be. How in God's name is that fiscally responsible? Sorry to whoever that was.
Who's 13?
That was 13.
Where's Zach?
Sorry. I would urge all of you to vote no on this. Let's form a consensus, an actual consensus. You're going to obligate us with a 1-vote majority to a generation of obligations. That's not fair.
Thank you, Mark. Does anyone else wish to address the council on any agenda item at this time?
I am Erica, back again. I just wanted to reiterate my thoughts before, I'm wondering if we're still on the hook for this current lease, and if we are, how can we responsibly go forward with a new lease without resolving the former one? Listening to other people, not just what I think, but listening to all the comments from the previous meeting, it seemed like everyone had concerns, and yet you represent the people here, but it seems like you're not listening to the people, because most of the people are saying this is not a good idea. We have real concerns. Just because we're leaving one building to go to a different building doesn't make it a better building. It doesn't mean that the problems that are here will not be problematic in a different building, especially if it's an older building. Light bulbs and floors coming up, those are going to happen in older buildings as well, in different buildings as well. And I just wanted to know how we're going to pay for this for the next 20 years, because our taxes are already so high that many people that I know consider moving into Troy say, I'm not going to do it because the taxes are too high. And yet we don't know how we're going to finance this over the next 20 years.
Thank you, Erica.
Good evening, Silva Manard again, 2100 block of Fifth Ave. I'd just like to take a few minutes to talk about the LDC mission, the Troy Land Development Corporation. When I look at the mission statement, it indicates that there are 4 performance measures. And I have concerns that the Troy LDC would be bonding for the purchase and construction, $10.8 million, and then rent the building to the city. From what I understand, as was mentioned in the second public meeting on July 23rd, the LDC would bond, which does not require a supermajority of the city council vote. It would also be liquidating properties that it currently owns and uses for a loan portfolio to aid in the employment opportunities for Troy residents and assisting in business retention and attraction. So the number of properties returned to productive use, currently Proctor's is already in productive use, almost as much as it would be should we actually end up moving there and having a viable city hall. Performance measure, number of facades improved. Proctor's facade is already improved, therefore it would not be contributing to the mission of the Troy LDC. Performance measure, performance of loan portfolio. Buying Proctor's would remove funding from the loan portfolio. We would be leasing to the city. There would be no tax base on that. And in addition, should we claim that in some legal loophole we can sell for $1, we would then be violating the mission of the LDC because we would no longer have a loan portfolio and an ability to then produce jobs, business loans, et cetera, which is its mission. Fourth mission and performance measure, number of business loans made and resultant creation of jobs. I have spoken with other Troy business owners in the city, and they are concerned because they currently utilize the loan annually so that they can buy product throughout the year, produce their product, make all their sales at the end of the year. I think 75% of their sales are made into November and December. And then they pay the loan back before the end of the year. What would happen if the LDC no longer has the funds and assets? They're all tied up in the financing of City Hall. That would eliminate jobs. That would eliminate business loans and creation of jobs. That is the mission of the Troy LDC. So I don't think that you can legally use the Troy LDC for this purpose. I think that doing so would violate the mission. I think you are calling more legal liability onto yourselves and the taxpayers. I would urge you to vote no until this has been thoroughly explored. Thank you.
Thank you, Silva.
One more thing, 20% less space. Where are the filing cabinets?
I
Well, unfortunately, we need to use them for the
yeah,
public.
I know, I heard you on that one. Well, my name's Don Finley. I live at 579 4th Street. and I need to provide public notice to the city of Troy in accordance with the USCS Rules of Civil Procedures, as well as the Rule 17, Rule 20 of the United States Supreme Court. The Constitution of the United States has an overarching requirement that every state must follow. I don't think anyone will deny that at this table. The states cannot enact their own alternative legislation substituted for the guarantees of the Constitution of the United States. That would mean that the state's laws are more powerful than the Constitution. Clause 1 of the Amendment 5 to the United States Constitution says, no person shall be held answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless presentment under grand jury. However, New York State has enacted its own alternative legislation that permits the prosecuting attorney or police officers to charge by information, not by indictment. That is unconstitutional. And an annulment violation is when you pay a public official to break the law. The Constitution has two areas that enforce this. One is Article 1, Section 10, where it says that no state shall create any law that shall impair the obligation of contracts, police officers, prosecutors, judges, or all under contract. A contract to perform that based upon the oath and affirmation that they took. The contract parameters are defined within the Constitution of the United States. When the state enacts the law that directs the agents to disobey the law, the Constitution of the United States, that would be a violation of Article 1, Section 10. Now, the 14th Amendment is the other place that you will find the reinforcements of this issue, and that is where it says that no state shall create or enforce any law that shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the United States citizen. The privileges and immunities of the United States citizens are at a minimum. Those enumerated within the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, they cannot be impaired. And thus, the state of New York has enacted a law in its inferior constitution that is permitting public officials, there are inordinate amount of people currently in prison in the state of New York illegally and unconstitutionally. Tawana Downing is litigating this issue at the United States Supreme Court. I'm here to notify you that if you continue to pay public officials to break the law, there can be criminal sanctions. That would come from that. We do not want to go that path, but officials must be made aware that paying people to disobey the law is an enumerate violation. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. I am asking you, honorable individuals, please to take a look at Clause 1, Amendment 5, confirm what I'm saying to be true, then direct your public officials to act in a lawful constitutional manner, consistent with the obligations that are codified in the United States of America. I had a notice that I already put on record, and thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on an agenda item? Other than an employee.
Also a member of public and a tax-paying resident.
Just teasing.
I know.
You can take it. You can take it.
It's gonna be about 30 seconds. So I just wanted to talk about the Proctor situation very briefly. I wrote down some things so I don't forget. I just think it's kind of funny how many people did we have speak? 7, 8, maybe. There are 50,000 residents in the city of Troy. 7 or 8 of you come in here, tell us how everyone hates this. Everyone has these types of questions. Everyone this, everyone. I only see 7 or 8 people here. Many people are busy doing other things on a beautiful summer night. Many people are uncomfortable public speaking, kind of like me. I don't really like this. They don't come to the meetings. They don't voice their opinions. I don't know about my minority. I can't speak for them, but I know the majority listens to their constituents daily, whether it's emails, out in the streets, community events, and they hear them. They listen to them. You guys come in here and berate them because they don't vote your way. Let's be honest, guys. Any one of those 8 items that were on the RFP, no matter what this administration picked, you would hate it. Let's be real. Now I'm speaking to you. I would say that I would echo that sentiment to the council. No matter what they picked, you guys would shoot it down. You'd have every problem with it. because you didn't vote for these people. So let's just be honest, call it what it is. You don't like these people, you didn't vote for them. Anything they do, you will hate. So again, 7 or 8 of you have come in here and spoke and act as if you're speaking on the behalf of the majority of the 50,000 residents in Troy. That's just flat out not true. You're the only people that come here. You're the same 7 or 8 that come and speak at every meeting against anything that the mayor ever tries to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, there were at least 17 who spoke. Yeah, thank you. And it was an overwhelming, it was indeed. Does anyone else wish to speak? Sure. Why not? After that last one, definitely. We need some uplifting.
Avi Menard. I would like to see more opinions of the people that are for this legislation and resolution 88 to approve Proctor's as the location for Troy City Hall, and the people that are for this legislations and their reasons and financial proof that it is viable. Because I have not seen any from the city council other than how it could be unviable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we will move along with our agenda. We have several ordinances. We have a couple of resolutions that I think we would like to move forward. We'd like to do resolution 82, and then we'll go to 81 and then move down, right?
So
Okay.
82 first.
82 first.
Okay. All right, resolution 82, a resolution to commemorate the service, life, and legacy of Jerry Weaver by designating that portion along 13th Street and Congress Street as Jerry Weaver Way. Council President sealed the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember McLaren. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 82 passes.
We're very honored to have Jerry's widow with us, who is County Legislator Carol Weaver. I thought you might like a little keepsake.
No.
Sarah, can you give? Yeah, I was. Yes. You got everybody just.
We don't have a date for this one yet, right? We don't have a date for this one yet? I know we do for vetoes.
Council President Still, did we have a date for that? I thought we did.
We look forward to that.
Okay, great.
And moving on to resolution 82,
That was 82.
or I mean 81.
Okay. Resolution 81, a resolution to commemorate the service and legacy of Vito Ciccarelli by designating that portion of Third Avenue between 110th Street and 111th Street as Vito's Way. Councilmember Keel, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. All in favor?
I just had some brief remarks.
Okay.
I just really want to say something brief. I'm really looking forward to personally being there for this unveiling. Vito Ciccarelli really has added some really great stuff to this local music scene, the arts. He's been associated with and prop bands up and artists up that are actually nationally known at this point. Last night, he brought a band out that I don't know if they ever played out live before. It was an amazing four-piece band with an amazing set with a young woman in front, not only sang, but she played rhythm and lead violin, and it was a rock band. And this is what Vito brings to our community. And I just want to thank Vito personally, and I will again at the unveiling. Thank you.
Now all in favor?
Thank you.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 81 passes.
And I don't believe we have Vito here with us tonight to present him, but we do have one. Maybe you want to bring it
Oh, yes.
with you when you go for the unveiling. Okay. Now we'll move back to our regular agenda, ordinances. Ordinance
34.
34.
Ordinance 34, ordinance approving settlement of tax certiorari proceedings instituted by 1801 6th Avenue LLC on the assessment roll of the city of Troy. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Vera, second by Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion on the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 34 passes.
Ordinance 36.
Ordinance 36, ordinance authorizing sale of a certain city-owned parcel of real property by the proposal sale application method. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Keel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry. Late.
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 36 passes.
Moving on to resolutions, resolution 83.
Resolution 83, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Rensselaer County on behalf of its Department of Mental Health to receive additional funding from the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the resolution?
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
I would just urge, the mayor to please use this money, so that we can keep getting this money because it is such an important, issue kind of plaguing our society and affecting our city. That's all.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 83 passes.
Resolution 85.
Resolution 85, resolution accepting a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services under the STRIVE initiative and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract and execute documents related to the grant on behalf of the city. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, seconded by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 85 passes.
Resolution 86.
Resolution 86, resolution accepting a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services under the GIVE initiative and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract and execute documents related to the grant on behalf of the city. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor or
Aye.
any discussion? Now all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 86 passes.
Resolution 87.
Resolution 87, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Pavement Management Group to implement pavement condition data management services for the city of Troy by piggybacking on the city of Smithtown, New York. Contract entitled PIN 24-056 Pavement Management Solution. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Vera with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion?
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
I would just like to say thank you to the city engineer for bringing this forward. I love collecting data, especially when that information is going to be used to invest millions of dollars annually. So I think this is a really positive step for the city of Troy, and I'm glad to see it in front of us this evening.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Seven ayes, 0 no's, resolution, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Resolution 87
City
passes.
clerk, I'll sleep.
Take a second. You're okay. Deep breath.
Are we boring you, Maria?
Oh my God, that was funny. Okay, resolution 88. Resolution 88 approving the former Proctor's Theater building at 82-90 Street, Troy, New York as a new site for the Troy City Hall. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey.
I just really, there's going to be more public comment on this. But the next big one, of course, is August 13th at 6 p.m., actually at Proctor's. I urge everyone here, and especially the people who spoke and the people at home, try to make it to that one. You're going to get to actually go in Proctor's, and that's a big part of it, and you're going to get to see it. If you're not old enough, you're going to get a glimpse of something really special in our history, the history of Troy. And if you haven't been in there since you were a child, it's going to really mean something to you and bring back a lot of memories as far as just getting in there. But I just want to say, it does say city officials will be on hand to give tours, share plans, and answer questions about the future permanent home of City Hall at Proctor's Theater. So please tend if you can. And like I said, this isn't going to be the last public input. And they're there to answer any and all questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Council President,
Councilmember Keel.
as with any purchase, there's times when you think, wow, this is taking forever, and this has taken a long time for us to finally have a building that we're focused on and somewhat agreeing on. And other times it seems to go too quick. And it's like, oh, I got to get all this paperwork. I got to do this. I'm in real estate. So, there are frustrating times, and this is kind of like this little frustrating bump for some. I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to like this property, and I think we're going to enjoy having this as our city hall with lots of parking behind it. Yeah, lots of parking behind it. That's right. Parking garage. That's where parking.
Let's just let him finish his comments, please.
Anyway, I think we have a great place. This is a historic building that we are bringing back to life, and it's not in its old glory, but at least it's getting a lot of life back into it, and it's going to be great. I was really kind of disappointed to see the landlord here coming and just trying to throw a dagger into this, and this is in some ways it's not his business. It's if you were renting a property and you said, oh, I'm buying a new house, you say goodbye to that landlord. And if he's a lousy landlord, you say good riddance. And if he was a good landlord, you say thank you very much. So we're moving on, we're pressing on with this, and I think I'm going to support this 100%. Yes.
Any other comments? I, for one, want to thank the number of people who came out, because given the fact that this was an inordinately short timeframe, unusually short for that number of people to come out, I commend you. Yes, it is premature. As Councilmember Casey said, we haven't even completed the public hearings, public meetings for the community, and yet here we are acting tonight. As the public raised so cogently, we have no figures, nothing to base this decision on. I love the car analogy that was used a number of times. You don't go into an auto dealership and just say, I want that car, and you don't ask how much it costs, or you don't ask about how much your interest rate is going to be on the loan, or, I mean, these are things that are simple answers that should have been provided not only to the council, but to the public. And it was clear that the public wants those answers and deserves those answers. So it's unfortunate the way this has been rammed through. It's clear the mayor has a legacy, an agenda that she wants to accomplish while she still has her 4 votes. And so that's what is happening tonight. And I'm sorry for the residents of Troy. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
No.
4 ayes, 3 noes, resolution 88 passes.
At this point of the evening, we have another public forum. This can be on any topic, not necessarily an agenda item. Does anyone wish to address the council?
Jonna Favreau. I live on Excelsior on the East Side, District 5. And something that I've heard throughout this entire process is that this was a promise that was made by the mayor while she was running. And another promise that was made was that all lead pipes would be removed within the first 4 years. And we're 2 years in, and we're not even halfway done. And looking at the numbers for 2025, as of June, only 60 pipes have been removed from the ground. We still have $12.8 million that we received last year. And I know an RFP went out and just closed last month, but it was only for a third of that money. And it should be spent by the end of the year, and that's not going to happen. So I'm just up here again, another city council meeting, and I know it's not 50,000 people in here, but we want the lead out of the water. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonna. Does anyone else wish to address the council?
Yeah, fun tonight, huh? My name is still Gary Bradley. I'm gonna throw you a curveball. What is the council doing about absentee landlords? Huh? I've come down to City Hall on a regular basis filing complaints about absentee landlords. For a while, I was raising the devil with code enforcement, but after talking with them, I found out their hands are tied. They can only do so much. The laws involving absentee landlords were passed by city council. Now, some of these landlords get fined, some don't, some never show up. Now we're talking about money. If you get the money out of these absentee landlords, you fill up your coffers pretty good. But the fines are nothing because they're charging $1,500 a month. Their fine might be $200. They don't care. Some of them never show up in court. And yet the property is still there. And it's dilapidating. It's falling apart. Some of the buildings, homeless are sneaking into it, residing. Eventually, there's going to be a problem with that. And the neighborhood we live in, we're scared, you know, there might be a fire that could cause property damage. There's a lot of things that could happen. The properties look terrible. It doesn't, if there's property for sale, nobody wants to buy it because they look to see a dilapidated house or an empty lot that looks like a jungle. Nobody wants to buy a house in that area because of how it looks. So my question to you is, what is the city council doing? Somebody give me an answer.
We'll look into it. Thank you very much. Well, we're not supposed to engage in conversation. I'm sorry. Our hands are tied. Does anyone else wish to address the council? It's unfortunately not a back and forth. This is an opportunity for the public to comment. We listen and then we take action. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren and Brosnan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Great job. Where was the gavel?
I mean, I don't want to call you on it, but the gavel was missing.
You
Oh,
want
thank
photos,
you.
Nick?